Oh yes, welcome to the first questions and answers live. Our focus for today is on the topic cardio or weightlifting. Which of the two is better or best for weight loss? So, what it is that we're going to be doing today are the following. One is a case where I'm going to have a form of definition outline for the following. One, calories. What are calories to be exact? Two, we're going to be talking about cardio and weightlifting. I mean, what are the exercises that make up these modalities? And also we're going to be talking about metabolic equivalence, which pretty much is a particular area of exercise and the whole context of exercise programming that not many people are pretty much aware of. So with me touching on those points, what it is then that I will do is just to go through a degree of exercises and talk about it in the context of active calories that are being burnt and see if there is actually the conclusion that can be arrived, whether or not it's the case that weightlifting is much more effective in terms of burning calories, or is it the vice versa? And if it's a case that none of the two is actually the best, then at least we should have a better understanding in the context of the why. So, calories, what are calories? So you can understand calories as the unit of energy that measures the amount of pretty much energy we use to go about our daily activities. So without getting too technical, if you think about you moving or you think about doing all the activities relating to your life, this takes calories, this takes energy. So calories like a unit, a measurement in the amount of energy that you use to go about doing a particular activity. All right. Now the next thing that we want to talk a bit on is cardio and weight bearing exercises. So cardio exercises, you can understand this as exercises that pretty much work the cardiorespiratory system. So these are activities that will challenge you in the context of your cardiovascular system, your heart, your lungs, and your venous system in the sense of your arteries, your veins, capillaries. So when you do these activities will predominantly challenge the cardiorespiratory system. And in so doing, with the cardiorespiratory system working even harder to bring more oxygen into the body and to get rid of the metabolic waste, we burn calories. So that's cardiorespiratory exercises. Weight-bearing exercises is basically you applying load onto your body towards you being able to move that load, and in so doing you are burning calories. So example of weight-bearing exercises is you getting up from a chair or you getting up out of your bed, and if you are to then add additional weight such as your child, then that obviously is going to make it a bit more challenging to move your body, and as such you need energy to do that, and that is how you would also burn calories the same. So with that given an intro, how is it that we can arrive at the conclusion of weight loss, and in the context of weight loss, it being achieved through either cardiorespiratory activity or weight-bearing activity? But what it is that I'm going to be doing is that I'm basically going to be giving you some degree of visuals to better understand, or to help you better understand how these activities assist you in burning calories. And then from there, we can take it further in terms of having a bit more of an outline in the context of which one of the two can actually assist in burning calories more here or there. Alright, so bring it down a bit. So after 2 minutes of activity, this says that I have expended or burned 13 calories. My heart rate is approximately 120 beats per minute, puts me in the fat burning zone. So specifically, I burned 13 calories within that time period. So what it is I'm going to do is I'm going to allow my heart rate to come back down. And in so doing, I will then do some weight bearing exercises. Now just to mention that while I'm here recovering, as per my sports watch, I am still burning calories. Alright? It's important for me to mention that when it's a case that we're talking about losing weight, just to briefly say this, that it is not just the amount of calories you burn within your activity that you should be paying attention to. It's also the amount of calories you burn at the end of the activity. Because keep in mind that after the exercise session has passed, your body is still pretty much heightened in terms of trying to get rid of all of that metabolic waste so that you can be able to get back into a state of balance, and that takes energy just the same. So you can consider that as resting calorie burn or resting energy expenditure. So what it is that I have here, it's a pair of 35 pounds. I'm going to be doing a series of weight bearing exercises. Slow and controlled. So what it is that I want to see is if I burn the same amount of calories, approximately 13 calories, within 2 minutes. Stop. Alright. So that was 11 calories burned in 2 minutes. Remember now, for the cardio activity of the stationary bike, I burned 13 calories within 2 minutes. I would like to also mention that doing the stationary bicycle, my heart rate was actually in the fat burning zone. According to my sports watch, doing the strength training exercises, my heart rate was in the warm-up zone. For that activity alone, what it is that we can see is that cardiorespiratory exercises, in terms of calorie expenditure, if you were to try and grade them based on heart rate, you're obviously going to have a higher heart rate when you're doing cardiorespiratory exercises relative to weight-bearing exercises. That's the first thing. Second thing is that in terms of the amount of calories burnt, this speaking is pretty much neck and neck. So you can burn the same amount of calories doing cardiorespiratory exercises within a given time period. That also basically is working the heart rate within the same zone by you doing weight-bearing exercises compared to cardiorespiratory exercises. So to say that again, cardiorespiratory exercises, weight-bearing exercises, you can burn the same amount of calories within a given time period of exercise. Having said that, your cardiorespiratory exercise will more than likely bring out a higher heart rate relative to the strength training exercise. Having said that, understand that your breathing rate may be the same. This is now where I am going into the context of metabolic equivalence, which is basically speaking on intensity. So, considering that my body has to be working more to break down the metabolic waste, it requires more oxygen, and in so doing, the rate at which I have to take in the oxygen has to go up because of the fact that I have to get rid of the metabolic waste, to say the least. So, if a particular exercise use up most or more muscles than I will use during rest, my breathing rate will go up, and as such, the amount of calories that I will burn will also go up. Alright? Having said that, if I'm doing strength training exercise, my heart rate does not have to reflect what the heart rate is when I'm doing cardio exercise, yet still the intensity of the exercise or the output in terms of the amount of energy that I have to use to do the particular activity can be the same. I hope you understand that. So, with that being said, this is just basically saying that both modalities are effective in burning calories. And even saying so, if you were to train at similar intensity, irrespective of the modality. So if for cardio you're doing stationary bike, and in so doing, you're training at an intensity that will push you to burn 500 calories. Then it will be the same thing if your intensity is the same and you're running, so to speak. So the kind of exercise is different, but the output or the outcome is the same. Similarly, weight-bearing exercise, the different forms that you can go about doing weight-bearing exercises. You can do, let's just say, slow, steady training, in the sense where the speed at which you're moving the weight is very slow. And in so doing, your heart rate may not necessarily be out the roof, but the amount of effort it takes, the amount of burn that you feel in the muscle, lactate build-up, so to speak, is great. And that's what your body still has to get rid of that metabolic waste. So your metabolic equivalence in terms of what that exercise about is just as high. Similar can be said if you're doing explosive weight-bearing exercises, such as the Olympic lift, clean and press, the snatch. So I just basically brought into your attention that in the context of exercising, the two main modalities of cardio, weight bearing, can still be broken down in terms of sub-modalities. In the context of cardio, it can be stationary bike, it can be running. In the context of weightlifting, it can be Olympic lifting, or it can be, let's just say, traditional bodybuilding training. And in so doing, you are burning the same amount of calories. See? So, with that being established, where we know that we can burn the same amount of calories if we were to do weight-bearing exercises as well as cardio exercises. Is any one of them better for weight loss? So to help you to basically arrive at a conclusion, let's see if we can understand better what weight loss is. So, weight, in terms of our body, is a composite of many components or factors. There is basically lean weight, as we will call it, or non-fat weight. Examples would be muscle. Another example will be bone mass. Another example would be water. Another example would be mineral salts. Those components I mentioned add up to make your weight. Then you have the fat mass. So when you combine them together, you have the totality of your weight. Now, if we're going to talk about weight loss, and I'm going to keep it very as it is, when I talk about fat weight loss, we're not going to that, another topic. If we're talking about weight loss, what is it that we're saying now? By you doing exercise, you're burning calories, yes? When you burn calories, you see product of your calories in the form of water. So when you exercise, you see sweat and runoff. You're getting rid of water weight. So, as a simple way of looking at it, if you were to start an exercise session now, before doing the exercise board, you check your weight. And let's just say your weight is 150 flat. And you do a 1 hour session, which is, let's just say, a relatively intense session. You burn 600 plus calories just in that session alone. And when you come off the session, immediately you go check your weight. You more than likely will see a drop in your weight. Now, what's the reason for that? You would notice this drop because of the fact that water weight has changed. You're sweating, so you can see where your body is expelling water. But in addition to that, your body has also lost some form of weight in the form of stored energy. So, predominantly when we are exercising, especially in short bout activities, the predominant source of energy is carbohydrates, or stored form of carbohydrates, which is glycogen. Glycogen adds to weight. Glycogen, in terms of its molecular structure, has water within it. So in so doing, when it's a case that we're talking about dropping weight, and as I mentioned, you're losing water. If you're losing water, you're more than likely also losing the energy store as well. You're dropping in energy stores, which has a factor in terms of your total weight. So that is an acute, as we'll call it, acute response in terms of you experiencing weight loss just by you finishing a particular exercise session. But then now, you can experience even greater weight loss in the sense where we're not talking about nutrition, but let's just say that your duration of exercise output or energy output is much greater than your body is accustomed to. Then in so doing, your body will continue to drop weight. So if you just look at the same explanation I gave you a while ago, for 1 hour session where at the end of a 1 hour session in comparison to the start of the session, you're more than likely going to drop some pounds because you have lost water weight, in addition to stored energy. Then if you were to further extend that into hours, into, let's just say, days, weeks, then you would further be dropping weight. In a sense where if your energy output is high, and let's just say we're not getting in any form of energy through nutrition, then we are still going to be dropping weight. And this weight change will more likely be happening because of the fact that we are losing our glycogen stores. And then now in so doing, because we end up in a state of starvation, as an example, we basically enter into different, let's just say, energy producing zones. Examples of which include the keto zone, as an example, or fat oxidation zone. All right. I would like to also just mention that when it comes to us dropping weight, the weight that we're dropping is a case that our body needs energy, and our body does use muscle tissue as energy as well. So if we are in a state of fasting, if our body is depleted in glycogen, as an example, then our body will shift into the secondary sources of energy, examples of which include fat and muscle tissue. Weight loss is a factor of energy in versus energy out. So if we are at a deficit, we basically will be dropping weight. Now, bringing it back into the exercise of weightlifting, as well as cardiorespiratory exercise. as mentioned a while ago, both of them are pretty much neck and neck in terms of the amount of calories you can burn within the given setting itself. See? So, if we're going to look at it from that point of view, both of them will be neck and neck in the context of the amount of weight that we will drop. See? And that can be the conclusion at the end of the session itself, or what we call the acute phase of exercise. What I just want to now bring into your attention is that, as mentioned a while ago or earlier, even at the end of the exercise, both our bodies are still burning calories. And if our bodies are still burning calories, then in that respect, if nutrition is not being met, we will continue to experience a drop in weight. So, having said that, is it a case that doing cardio respiratory exercises in comparison to weight-bearing exercises, you can experience greater weight loss or greater energy burn or calorie burn at rest versus weight-bearing exercises? That's a question that I would not be fully in zone to answer right now because we need more time to do that. So more than likely I'm going to have to be doing some form of video and take my time and compare and contrast over a period of days. Hopefully I can create that.